either life imprisonment or death. And you would know if the death penalty was on the books before you got into trial, because they got to file motions, they got to do all the type of stuff. So if they didn't elect for death, which I don't believe they did in this case, but capital murder was still on the docket, if he got found guilty of capital murder, that's mandatory life imprisonment. They wouldn't have to be like, oh, we'll come back 2 weeks from now or a month from now and have pre-trial and have blah, 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 or not pre-trial, but have, these other entities weigh in on, like, him as an inmate and how they should treat him. No, they would just say life. It's over. Okay. This is the reading of the verdict for Tamar McIntyre TK. If you guys don't know, he's accused of pulling the trigger in a Chick-fil-A parking lot, murdering a man who was a cameraman. He was like 22 or 23. It's being alleged that he tried to rob the guy, and after they robbed him and kicked him out the car, the dude jumped on the car. They're trying to get him off the car, and he takes out a gun, shoots the guy, and the guy falls off the car and dies in the parking lot of Chick-fil-A. Here's the reading of the verdict, people.
2019 CR 12495 State versus Tamar McIntyre. Could I have parties announced for the record, please?
Jason, go ahead and Megan Galloway for the state, Your Honor.
John Hunter Thomas Lang for Mr. McIntyre, Your Honor.
All right. It's the court's understanding from the deputy that a verdict has been reached in this case. This is what I'm going to tell all the parties who are present in this courtroom. There's not to be any outbursts. If there's an outburst, what's going to end up happening is a deputy is going to tap you on the shoulder. There's no need to get into a conversation with the deputy. That tap on the shoulder is meaning that you are to leave this courtroom, and you will only be allowed back in this courtroom if you're going to be a witness. Does everyone understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is there anyone who cannot do that? So, both parties for the state and the defense, if you need to talk to members who are currently in court that are either with the state or defense, you may do so now. Otherwise, I'm going to bring the jury in.
I think everyone knows to be on their best behavior, Your Honor.
All right, let's bring the jurors in.
All right, for the jury.
I mean, I know he already has 55 years, but this still has to be like a really tense moment.
All right, everyone, please be seated.
So the jury walks in.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's my understanding that you've reached a verdict in this case. Is that correct?
Yes.
And is that verdict unanimous?
Yes.
All right, if you will give the verdict form to Deputy Laura, please.
Now, before this verdict get read, I want to give one other piece of information. We didn't go through everything that was discussed in this case. Obviously, it was testified against by a bunch of people. We did look at closing arguments, and I know a lot of people look at trials to say, oh, you have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. But you have to remember that the people who are voting on these situations are humans. And if they probably elected to do jury service, they want to find someone culpable, if necessary or if possible, especially when they deem something was wrong, especially in a murder case. It's clear someone is deceased, right? So I see a lot of people like even, for example, TK's lawyers, their whole thing is, well, there's just not, like, everything is kind of pointing to TK, but it's just not enough. And a jury sometimes is going to be like, well, if everybody's kind of pointing at him, I think he did it, right? Because his lawyers were like, well, why didn't they never found the camera. They never did this. They didn't do ballistics. They didn't do that.
Thank you. All right, if the defendant could please stand. We, the jury, find the defendant, Tamar McIntyre, not guilty of the offense of capital murder. What did I, excuse me, no. No, out of the courtroom. Out of the courtroom now.
That gotta be his mom or something?
Yes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you don't ignore that. Sometimes, as you can tell, people are invested, correct? So it says, we the jury find the defendant, Tamar McIntyre, not guilty of the offense of capital murder as charged in the indictment. We the jury find the defendant, Tamar McIntyre, guilty of the lesser included offense of murder. Does anyone wish to have the jury polled?
Not the state, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and do you want them polled as to both counts?
As to the count of conviction, Your Honor.
All right, you may be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask you if, in count 2, the guilty verdict for murder, if that is your verdict. If that is your verdict, I'm going to need you to respond yes. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
So we'll start on this end and work our way down. Is this your verdict? Is this your verdict?
Yes.
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 Is this your verdict?
They're alternates.
Oh, yes.
Alternate.
All right. Back row.
Yes, sorry.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
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 All right, ladies and gentlemen, what's going to happen now is I'm going to allow you all to have your recess for lunch, and then we'll begin the second phase of.
Nah, this is the worst feeling. It gotta be the worst feeling. They just said you're guilty of murder, and now they talking about lunch. Fuck.
the trial. All right?
Ruger Red, thank you for the gifted subs or gifted membership. Thank you.
Everyone, please rise for the jurors.
Wow. Now, this is the reading of the sentencing. So he got found guilty of just murder. I thought there was a robbery associated with it, but maybe they didn't send that to the jury. Regardless, here is the sentencing for Tamar McIntyre, TK 47.
All right. It states that we unanimously find that the defendant, Tamar McIntyre, did not cause the death of Anthony Saldivar under the immediate influence of sudden passion arising from adequate cause. It states that punishment to be assessed at 80 years in the prison, and there is no fine. Does anyone wish to have the jury polled?
Not in the state, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm first going to start with your unanimous decision stating that there was no finding of sudden passion. If that is your
Bugatti,
verdict,
thank you for becoming a
I'll
member.
need you to respond yes. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
We'll start on the end. Is this your verdict? I'm sorry?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your
Yes.
verdict? Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Off.
I'm on the back row. I'm sorry. Is this your verdict on the back row? Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict? Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is
Why
this
they
your
did that
verdict?
again?
With regards to the sentence of 80 years in the prison and no fine, if this is your verdict, I need you to answer yes. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
Is this your verdict? Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Wait. The jury. Oh, I didn't know that. The jury sentenced him to 80 years. Hold on. Chat, I'm doing a little research on stream. You know, we tend to do that from time to time. Jury in Texas sentence. I didn't know the jury. I thought usually the jury hands out the decision. Then after the decision, the jury could be damn near dismissed, right? Then the judge gives the sentence. Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Oh, the jury does it in Texas. Ah. I had no idea about that. Yo, Texas is a really... I don't know why niggas be acting up in Texas, man. Texas don't fucking play. Does Texas courts jury sentence? Hold on. Yes, in Texas, a jury could sentence a defendant in non-capital cases. Oh, okay. So if it was life or death, the judge would do it. So if it was capital case, remember it's life or death. And mean life in prison or death penalty. So the defendant has the right to have the jury set punishment in the event. Oh, so TK must have elected for the jury to do it. If the defendant chooses not to have the jury set punishment, then the judge. Oh, so they elected for they elected for the jury to do it, not the judge. And the jury gave him the word. Yo, Texas ain't no fucking joke. The accused can elect before trial to have the jury set punishment. We're pretty much reading the same thing. In the event of a conviction, if the accused doesn't elect. Oh, so TK must have. TK elects for jury sentence. Wow, I don't think that's the same in every place. Oh. Okay, I didn't know that. And by the way, this is in Bexar County, the same place where San Antonio is, which is where Drake has a civil case versus UMG and iHeart. Well, I think he dropped iHeart from it. Or civil petition.
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Back row, is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict? Is this your verdict? Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have you go back to the jury room, and I'll meet you back there shortly. Everyone, please rise for the jurors. All right, everyone, please be seated. All right, Mr. McIntyre, the jury found you guilty of murder. Your punishment is to be assessed at 80 years in the prison. The court will give you credit for any time served.
Bro, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Bro, I ain't gonna lie, bro. That's crazy, chat.
There's a $0 fine.
Now, also, I'm gonna. So, you got to remember, the jury is. It's a give and take with this jury like verdict, I would imagine, right? So remember, the jury is not always. Those people serving on the jury aren't in a bunch of other cases, so they're not going murder case, murder case, murder case. The judge is. So the judge might not have that much emotional attachment to one case or the other, while the jury may. The jury is sitting there, they're seeing the bodies of someone who got killed. They're hearing these stories, they're hearing people cry. And look, they're also sitting through victim impact statements. Like this was impact statements from people who were either close to the deceased, and they're listening to people really break down and say, yo, I lost my brother, I lost my son, and yeah, they're going to throw the book at you. Now, I'm not saying the judge wouldn't do the same, but the judge probably works with and does a lot of murder cases, so she's not taking everyone personal, I would imagine.
April 20 new home. When he left that day, I didn't know he was giving me his last goodbyes. A hug and a kiss that will stain my heart. I didn't know when I started to text him that I would be receiving one last response, that those would be our last words to each other. He never came back that day. My son was full of love, full of hope and ambitions. He had trust in the good nature of people. He was an entrepreneur.
Damn. Anyway.
And with regards to the other offense, State, are you requesting that to be stacked?
Yes, we are, Your Honor.
All right.
Your Honor.
And I'm assuming you're against that. Is that correct?
We are, Your Honor. We would just like to briefly, for the record, maintain that our argument would be that to run consecutively an 80-year sentence on top of 55.
Just one moment, counsel. Just give me one moment. Mr. McIntyre, I want you to know that I listened to all of the evidence in punishment and thought about whether or not your sentence should be stacked. I don't know where your mom is, don't know where your father is. I know that you had a rough childhood. And I do know that these are...
Damn. Yo, chat, I'm watching his face and I'm just watching him going through it. Am I being pussy for feeling bad? Like, I kind of feel so bad. Like, his mom's not there. His dad's not there. He spent, like, pretty much a good portion of his life just locked up. Him being an adult now is just only dealing with consequences of when he was, I won't say a child, but younger. And I'm just watching him and, like, he has this blank expression. I feel bad. Am I being pussy, though? Because I'm not considering the person who died.
I don't know where your mom is, don't know where your father is. I know that you had a rough childhood. And I do know that these offenses occurred when you were very young. And I understand the state of the law, what people consider an adult. I listened to the testimony of the expert that was brought by defense counsel. You've already been sentenced to murder in the other county, and then you have a murder here. And the sentence for 55 years, that's a stiff sentence. This 80-year sentence is a stiff sentence. And these are cases where you have to serve half your time, and that's day for day time, and I recognize that. Hopefully you will grow, but based upon his age, based upon the number of years that he has received out of Tarrant County and the number of years that he's received here, based upon his history and the lack of any type of good parenting. From what I can tell, his mother wasn't a good parent to him. His father wasn't a good parent to him. Child Protective Services was not good. And if you believe the testimony, I don't know why Child Protective Services would place children back with a father who put the children's mother in the hospital. Is there something else that needs to be done with our society? Yes. Is more money need for Child Protective Services and their workers? Yes. And I do realize that while this is a lot of time, and I tell people all the time, any time that you do in custody.
Nah, you should have had a judge sentence him. She feels bad. She a black woman. She feels bad and probably blames a lot on the lack of parents or bad parents or the system failing him. If she had given him a sentence, I think she would have probably went for 50 years. Now that's crazy, but it would be right, basically probably running concurrent with the other murder. At least give him a chance that maybe when he's 70, he could at least see the light of day. I think you could hear she's coming off to me as like a black grandmother / mom. And I could tell she feels fucking bad. She feels bad. I could tell, bro. I could tell. This is not an L judge, bro. But she can't do nothing. He elected for a jury he elected for the jury to sentence him, and they gave the 70 or 80. She can't say, I'm nullifying it. Well, I don't think she can. I do know in some cases if the jury comes with a verdict, she could actually overrule it. I don't know if in Texas, but in some precincts, but whatever.
And I do realize that while this is a lot of time, and I tell people all the time, any time that you do in custody is a lot of time. But
yo, chat, I ain't gonna lie to you. There's a part of, I think the intrigue with this case is a part of us that like you crying the inside watching this. Cause yeah, was he reckless? Yeah, does he need to be punished? Are you glad he is being punished? I mean, if you care about the law, because there's 2 people that died. But you also kind of look at him and you see someone who, even now, we've watched him grow in jail. And I think we have a different level of like attachment and discernment to like some of these actions because we've watched him grow in jail. I don't know.
By that same token, you're still alive. And what the state has said is true. You're still alive. You can still better yourself. If you end up in prison for the rest of your life, you're still alive. You still can improve yourself. Your family can still visit you. But the complainant in this case is deceased. And you need to internalize that the complainant in this case is deceased. And that his family is never going to see him again. So you're going to have to make changes. And you're going to have to remove people from your life who are not of benefit in the means of making you a better person. And I do understand that sometimes people will go to prison, they join gangs because you need protection, because you're there by yourself, you're young, but you're going to have to make better choices. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm going to sentence him to 80 years in the...
Oh, wow. He actually spoke. Man, this seems like and chat, you know, I think this, I feel bad because I heard Charleston White say some shit and I was just like, I see why niggas be saying Charleston be on that Uncle Tom or whatever shit. Cause he said the only thing that be getting most black boys straight if they have a bad parenting situation is the military or jail. And I heard, I said, damn, Charleston, why are you saying that? But you know one of the reasons why I feel bad for TK? He seems so polite right here. He seemed like if he was like this before he caught the case, he probably would never have had a case. So it's kind of one of those things where like we're kind of feeling bad for him, but jail has turned him into this very calm, meek looking, almost like mature individual. And someone who, even though the judge says, I'm giving you 80 years, he still says, yes, ma'am. He's polite. But I don't know if he gets here if we have the, fuck a beat, I was trying to beat a case.
And I do understand that sometimes people will go to prison, they join gangs because you need protection, because you're there by yourself, you're young, but you're going to have to make better choices. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm going to sentence him to 80 years in the prison, give him credit for any time served. There is a $0 fine. This will run concurrent with 1511547.
That's the other murder, I think. So it's ran concurrent with the other murder. Wow. That is so unfortunate. You know, this TK case always made me very sad about sometimes the stuff we glorify, and even me in the media too, right? Because I'm an adult. I'm in my 30s. I listen to Lil Durk's. I keep saying I love indictment music, but I'm gonna listen to that music. I'm not gonna act on it. I'm not gonna let Lil Durk go gas me to do a murder for hire. I'm not gonna let Chief Keef or Lil Jeff or King Von go gas me to senselessly murder someone. But there was a time after drill music came out, and I'm not blaming no drill artists for this at all. I do believe that there were kids that were really inspired by thinking that what they were hearing was something that was an actual way to live, that they could murder people and still rap about it and be free, or if they did get caught, not see the full consequences that they would normally face. And by the way, that's still a problem too, because there's a bunch of like, I don't know if you've been in some of these cities, because the laws work differently many times for teenagers. You have teenagers doing grown men crimes, and they don't think none of it because they're like, yo, I'm 16, I'm 17. But I do think that TK got wrapped up in that wave, and I'm not blaming just drill music, but I'm blaming like almost lack of parenting for sure. But like this atmosphere of no accountability, or thinking that the immediate high of, okay, I'm this killer or I'm this real dude, was never going to catch up with this part. And I think TK, to be honest, is the only person that we've had this sad particular part of the story with, because let's go back to everybody else we idolize or we hype up. Dirk has a chance to be that too. With King Von, we all told him he got 7 bodies. He got murdered before he was able to stand, for trial for any of the newer ones, or even the RICO that was involved in FBG Duck. A lot of the time, some of the guys we talk about, before they get to this part, which I say this is the saddest part of it all, they drag you back and forth to jail to courtroom, involuntarily, and you got to sit there for years. I do believe that one of the reasons I believe Aaron Hernandez killed himself, again, I could be wrong, I do think he had mental issues, but he knew for the remainder of his life, he was going to be like cattle, dragged from courtroom to jail, courtroom to jail, courtroom to jail. And that's how we've kept up with TK's life. We see him in courtrooms. We see him in these random jail calls. And unfortunately, I think TK is one of the only ones we've seen. Most of these niggas who, if they really did do some murder shit, before the police really, really get them, they get killed. Vaughn got killed. Again, I think Dirk has a chance, but at least with Dirk, we could look at him and be like, yo, Dirk is in his 30s. Dirk is 32. Dirk is a grown man doing this shit. We don't get to really see kids, like even like, for example, K Flock. K Flock is, again, he was found not guilty of the murder, so most likely he's going to get like 20 years, get out in 18. He's already been locked up for like 4 or 5, so he going to be out in like 10 years, 15 years. He's in his, he's early 20s. He's going to be out in his 30s. We're not going to see the suffering. With TK, we could all see the suffering. He had 55 years and they gave him 80. They're running a concurrent, but the top year rules, which means he's going to do 80 years since he's been incarcerated. And I forgot what the time, basically, how old is TK at this point? He's probably like, he's 24. Let's give him credit for like 5 years. I forgot when it happened, even though I think it happened in like 2016. When did this happen? Let's give him credit for 10 years, right? So if he has to do not 80, but 70 years, he would get out when he was 74. No, not 74, 94, I'm sorry. 70 plus 24, 94. Let's even say you take off 15 years just for good behavior. Instead of 94, he's going to be 79. I don't know, man. It's a bit sad. It's a bit sad.
He had a love for the arts, music, photography, videography, people, and business. He had many passions.
This, I believe, is the mother. She also had testified. This is why the jury gave that nigga 80 years. You see a mom up here. I don't know if she cried, but
And
Do you remember what he was wearing by any chance?
It was black gym shorts.
I ain't gonna lie, I throw the book at this nigga too though. Like I fuck with TK, but still, bro. Yo, when you sit through a whole trial, nigga, you see somebody's mama cry, you're seeing so many people cry, you see all the destruction that nigga gave. I don't care if you wear glasses, I don't care if you got on like a nice little outfit. Nigga, get a whole lot 80 years, nigga. The fuck? But yeah. Oh yeah. That's the 80 years right there. Mama's crying up in the courtroom, you're on the jury. You know how it feels if your mama was crying, if you got a kid, 80 years, nigga. I'm not gonna cap with you. I fuck with Florida so much, I think other states are pussy. That's the only way to cure crime. You gotta publicize. You did that, 80 years, nigga. I don't even mind if they gave a nigga like 400 years. Just put it out there. Like, you know that nigga ain't gonna live to it, but just put it out there. Y'all wanna get rid of crime? Y'all gotta put up some astronomical numbers that niggas is like, what? 400 years? Yeah, that's what you gotta do. I ain't gonna lie to you. 400 years. You give a nigga 400 years, he gonna reconsider the fuckery next time. I'm sorry. Yeah, mom up there crying. They showing the last pictures of her son. They probably got, usually when somebody dies, if they died of bullet wounds, they'll take off the clothes off the deceased person, take pictures of it. Now she know what he walked out the house with. He had on a red shirt or something like that. They got the red shirt with 5 bullet holes in it and blood all around it. And she know that's her son. Of course she's going to cry. The jury's looking at that. If she's crying, they're wiping their tears. You know what they're saying? 40 years, nigga. Actually, not even 40 years. 80 years, nigga. Hold that shit.
I want to ask you, do you know a Joanna Reyes?
No.
Do you know a Tamar McIntyre?
No.
Do you know a Jalen Bell?
No.
She ain't even know them niggas, man. She sent her son out there.
You recognize the individual in that picture?
Yes.
Who is that?
Damn. All right, TK. I hope everybody kind of learns from that. Fucked up, but I can't say they're going hard on this dude. Pause. Given the fact that he was moving around on some brazen shit. Like, he didn't give a fuck about people. And, yeah, you took away somebody's life, my nigga. Like, unwarranted. It is what it is.
When Tamor came over to pick up Mark from his house, this man over here was sitting with that gun.
Oh, somebody testify on Zoom.
He leans out. He shoots Mark through the shoulder, goes across his body, exits out of his little bit of his lower back. He falls to the ground. The car reverses and takes off from the scene. You'll see several people run up and try to help Mark. But that bullet crossed his body. It hit his spine, hit his both lungs. If he would have been on the best medical gurney in the world, he wouldn't have survived that shot.
Prosecutors say everyone in the car just left Mark to die in the parking lot. There was no...
Yeah, 80 years is about right. Take it, you be all right, man. It might take a couple lifetimes, but you'll come back, man. Your next lifetime, you might come back as an ant, a roach. You might come back as an antelope, maybe an elephant next, maybe a zebra, okay? You might come back as a frog. Might come back as a squid. Hopefully you a dolphin or some shit. But whenever it cycles around and you come back to being a human, hopefully you remember, don't do that fuck shit no more. Okay? It is what it is. It is what it is, bruh. You know, I'm a big Law and Order type of person. And as much as I feel bad for him, I'm like, whatever. Anyway. Yo, chat. Have y'all seen this shit? This shit is a mess. Yo. Yo, these celebrities, man, I don't know how these celebrities just all love. I'm almost at a point wondering if they just love sharing pussy juice and BV and bacterial odor and messed up pH levels, because I'm going to be honest with you, like for me, I don't like having, like, I don't even attempt to attract or even shoot my shot at anyone who's in the celebrity game. You know why? Like, I mean, it's not even on some like, yo, if you ever see them do the thing in health class where they're like, If you sleep with her, but she slept with 5 people, you
Part of me feels bad for TK for him having to do 80 years, but I don't feel bad at the same time, man. TK, feel me, he did this to himself. Like, I know he was young and stuff when he did all the stuff he did. I seen something on social media that said TK is like the grandfather of the YNs. He really is, bro. Like, all the stuff that the YNs and stuff are doing right now, it's really like TK like kicked it off for the YN generation. Like, but TK should be like living proof to them on why you need to stop, unless you want to be in the same position. You wanna know what's so funny? Everyone wants to go around killing each other and doing all this stuff, but nobody wants to do the time. Everybody snitches on the other person every time. You're so cool with this person. I'm not talking about no petty crimes either. We're talking about murders and stuff like that. Like first degrees, capital murders. Like if someone comes in front of you and says you're getting 50 years and you're 17 years old, that's like 3 times your life. You're telling. Anyone who says they're not is lying. You are telling. And I haven't seen anyone get the death penalty recently, but if someone's saying you're getting life, like let's say you were just a driver and you didn't do anything, like you see how his ex-girlfriend's testifying against him, bro. But hey, man, TK did to himself. You can't really feel bad for him. Just pray everything, just everything works out for him. Even though I don't know, man. I'm hoping that he finds God, because obviously that's what he needs in there. And yeah, he probably hopefully like write a book, help the next generation. Hopefully the current generation, the next generation looks at him and says, I don't want to be in that situation. I don't want to be sitting down. But everyone wants to be the drug dealers, the shooters, and all that stuff, because that's what the women want. So hey, and that's what's cool. But also, you have to blame rap for that, which is so sad to say, because I don't like people blaming music for stuff, but you have to blame music and stuff for that, because music is what's influencing like the world, like Pooh Shiesties and stuff like that. Everyone wearing a shiesty and want to rob people and all that stuff. But it's your boy Big X News. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and let me know how you guys feel about everything in the comments below. And I'm out.